These episodes are intended for mature audiences. Viewer and listener discretion advised. Hi guys, welcome to another episode on Stories of a Dandelion podcast. I am not too sure how to address this subject because it is a very sensitive one. So I'm just going to let you guys know. Today we talk about domestic abuse, and there may be some triggers that trigger those who have been through it throughout this episode. So please, if you've been through it or if you know somebody who's been through it, please be careful when sharing this episode with them, and just be mindful of the environment that you are in. This story is a very important one that I believe needs to be shared, and the person who is sharing the story believed that she needed to share it. I'm so proud of Bailey for sharing her story. I want to thank her for wanting to share her story on Stories of a Dandelion podcast, because she knows that she's not the only one that has been through everything she's been through. And like I told Bailey, she is one of the strongest women I know, and she is one of the best moms I know. So if you are currently in the situation that she was, know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that there is a way out. And please do not listen to this episode alone if you have been through domestic abuse. With all of that being said, Bailey, my friend for a lifetime and forever, thank you for sharing your story. I hope that it helps somebody out there who may have gone through a similar situation know that they are not alone, and that they can connect with her and have a place to heal. With all that being said, let's get into today's podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode on Stories of a Dandelion. Today we have my friend Bailey, who I have not talked to in a long time, but it's going to be really good to catch up with her and have her share her mental health journey on here. So thank you, Bailey, for joining me, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
Good to be here.
First question. If you're 18 and you're graduating in 2023, what advice would you give yourself?
I would tell myself that most of the people that you went to high school with, their opinions about you, the things that were said, rumors that were started, none of it matters, and none of it's going to matter in the future. So take it with a grain of salt and move on. Keep your head up, keep your head on your shoulders, and live your life. Doesn't matter what people think.
True.
Live your life.
Very true. So tell me how it all started for you to become the person you are today. Your beginning of your childhood, you came out of your mother, and till now.
I would start with when I was 11. We lived in England, and we lived there for about 4 years, and it was my mom and dad, my sister, and myself. And I was just, some dumb little kid, ratty hair, wore dresses with sweatpants, and I would say that was a pretty good start to my life. And then my sister made some not so great decisions. She's 3 years older than me, so she would have been 13, and she ended up getting pregnant. And it caused a big rift in our family. They actually ended up sending her to a home in, I want to say Oregon is where it was, for pregnant teenagers who were struggling. And for me, that was kind of like the start of like my downhill. And I remember taking her to the airport, watching her leave. She had a baby. She never came home. So she ended up staying with the lady who ran the place, and moved in with her biological father for a little bit, and then ended up living with my grandma. So she never came home. And so that was pretty traumatizing. After all of that, we moved to Oklahoma, where that was probably the worst experience of my life, living in that state. The people there are awful. The tornadoes are awful, scary tornadoes. Don't like them. I had a couple of really good friends there, but I was bullied pretty bad. There was a point where I, like we talked about, was I started cutting myself. And for me, that was like the only thing that like made me feel good, for 2 minutes is that. And I remember this one time, this girl, and I probably weighed, 125 pounds. I was little. She called me fat, told me I was worthless. I will always remember that. And I went home and I went in the bathroom and I grabbed some scissors and I cut myself. And my mom walked in. And then there was blood just everywhere. It was awful. That was my first, you cut yourself here and there just a little bit or whatever. But that was the first time I was like, I want to end it. Like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And, my mom sat with me. She, helped me clean up all the blood and sat with me and told me I was beautiful and that I was worth something and yada, yada, yada. Life went on, still was doing it, still hid it from my family and was still doing it just to feel something. Because at that point I was just numb. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any self-worth or anything like that. And then I moved to Belgium. And that's where I met you. And I was, just side note real quick, I was talking to my roommate the other day about on Halloween, we were at the PX or whatever. And I was running and you tripped me, dude, and I went flying. Like, I was so mad. I didn't know you were going to go that high.
Bailey, I love you so much. You flew across the floor and I was like, oh no.
I flew. My God, it was so bad. Like in front of everybody. And I think I was like Little Red Riding Hood or something like that. And I was like wearing heels, like thought, oh, I look so cute, blah, blah, blah. And then you trip me. Just go flying. Oh, that was like my favorite memory. I just got up and I was like, Gina, what the hell? Like, what are you doing?
I felt so bad because I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like, I really didn't mean for it to
I always trip you. Like, we always do that to each other. But that time it was so bad.
That was so bad. That was really bad. Yeah. Anyways, moving to Belgium helped me quite a bit. Moving there, I stopped self-harming. I made some really good friends, lifelong friends that I'll have forever. And they continue to help me today, with everything going on. And, but they're in high school, like I was like the stoner girl. Like I was, like had the colorful hair and wore colorful pants and wasn't like every other girl, which now looking back at it, I'm happy. Like that, it makes me happy that I wasn't like the girl that like wore leggings and tight shirts and like, I was me, and me being me was great. But not everyone thought so. I got made fun of a lot by some of the boys in my grade. Dolly?
You're fine.
Don't start. Sorry. I got made fun of quite a bit, by a group of boys in particular. Got called fat all the time, which I was not. After having 3 kids, you look back and you're like, yeah, I was so skinny. I was so skinny, and now I've had 3 kids, and I'm like, okay, I've got like the mom bod and whatever. But like, you feel that way about yourself. Like people tell you, like, oh, you're not pretty enough, or oh, you're weird, or oh, like, and that stuff, it sticks with you. Like it really does. It sticks with you for the rest of your life. And even still, like I still have those thoughts about myself. Like I am not like a normal person. Like I'm goofy, I'm funny, I'm nerdy. Like I'm awkward. I'm awkward, very awkward. And that's just me. And but hearing that growing up, and you hear it, for 4 years, all through high school, the same people saying the same things about you, that you're not the pretty friend. Like Tabitha was like the pretty friend. Like everybody loved her, and I was just Bailey. I was just Bailey with the red and pink hair and piercings and tattoos, and no one really was like that. And then I got away from that place. I moved. Graduation was cool. It was so fun graduating with all of those people. Dolly, I'm not kidding, dog. Stop it! You're being naughty. I'm so sorry. She's such a brat. She's only 8 weeks old. She's little. Anyways, so it was good. Like, I did have really good friends. I had a great life there. I did feel better. Moving away from there, I moved away from there for a boy. And that was the biggest mistake of my entire life. And my ex-boyfriend, I won't say names, but he was abusive, horribly abusive, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. I still to this day have his family kind of lives here. His parents live where I live, and seeing him today, it still physically makes me ill to see him. He ruined a big part of me. There's a part of me that I will never get back because of him. And I've never actually openly talked about, besides with my therapist, the things that happened between me and him. Like I've opened up to my mom recently a little bit about it. But so when you're with someone who's like that, I mean, he destroyed me for a really long time. We were together for 3 years. And the things that he said still haunt me. Still, I still don't feel good about myself because I think, for so long you're told, oh, you're just basically a piece of crap. You're a piece of crap. No one will ever want you. Just put you down, put his hands on you, try and, kill you, that kind of stuff. It's hard. It's hard to live with. It's still hard to live with. It got to a point where it got so bad that I ended up leaving here and moving with my parents to New Mexico. And in New Mexico, I was probably there about a year. Things were good. I worked at the Child Development Center, and which was cool. I loved that job. It was fun. I worked with all the babies, and I loved it. And I had a really good friend that I hung out with, and we went to concerts, and my life just 180. Like I just, but for me, I buried everything. I never got the help that I should have got when it happened. And so I buried it. And just, within the last couple of years, I've kind of opened up a little bit more about it. And then I met my husband a year later, or ex-husband. He's my ex-husband now. About a year later, unfortunately, like how it happened was not the best way. Like, we went on a first date, drank a little too much, and then I got pregnant 2 weeks later. So in a way, that's not like the traditional way of doing things, clearly. But no matter what, it gave me my 3 boys. It gave me Jace, who is 7 now, and he's in 2nd grade, and He's the smartest little kid I've ever met. Like, that kid, I don't know. He didn't get it from me. I'm going to be honest. He didn't get it from me. He's so smart and funny and talented. And then we had Finley. But my marriage was not easy. Dolly, I'm really going to kick your butt. But she's driving me nuts. It wasn't easy. He struggled with alcoholism for 6 out of the 9 years we were together. He was wonderful. I mean, he's a good dad. He was a good husband. He just, had some issues. And when he would drink, he would say some pretty mean things to me. Bad mom, call me the C word, evil bitch is what I heard a lot. And this would all be because I would ask him to quit drinking. Finally, about 2 years ago, we had already moved back to Idaho. And I had just had my son, Oliver, who is 2. And I apologize if I start tearing up. This is still hard. He was on vacation in New Mexico visiting his family. And I was 2 weeks postpartum and I had a C-section with Oliver. And so I really couldn't travel at that point. So I stayed here with him, with the baby. And one night I get a call from this girl who we're just acquaintances. Like, I don't really know her too well. And she's like crying on the phone. And I'm like, what's up? Like, why are you crying? Like, I don't really know you well enough to, be crying. And she's like, I have to tell you something. I'm like, well, what happened? She was like, it's about Robert. And I'm like, okay, like, just tell me. And she's like, well, I want to come talk to you in person tomorrow. I'm like, well, Robert will be home tomorrow. And if it's about him, like, you need to just tell me now. Like, I just had a baby like 2 weeks ago. My hormones are still like, now you have my anxiety up. Like, you need to just tell me. And he goes, Robert, like, I saw these text messages of Robert trying to have sex with another girl. And so at first I'm like in denial. I'm like, no, he would never do that to me. Like, I just had his child, like, I've had 2 of his children. We've been married for 8 years. Like, and so she sent me the screenshots of all of it. And he did. And the girl, which I won't name her either, told him no. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, you have a baby, you have a wife at home. Like, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. So I called him, and he was in a hotel because he was on his way home. I'm just like, what did you do? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what the fuck did you do? And he's like, I fucked up. And I was like, you're right, you fucked up. And I was like, if he was here, I was so mad that like I could have hit him. And I don't get mad like that. I really don't. But he did all that. And then I was somewhat nice to him because he had my other 2 kids with him. And I didn't want him to turn around and go back to New Mexico. So I was somewhat nice to him. He came back. We talked and talked and talked. And, it got to a point where I was like, hey, like, I love you and I still want to make this work. It's going to be hard, but I still want to make it work because we have a family. Like, this isn't, we're in high school and you cheated on me with a cheerleader or something. Like, no, we're married, we have kids, we have a house, we have jobs, all of that. And so for the last 2 years, we've been trying to make it work. And it's been really, really difficult. And, I brought it up a lot. It's not something easy to get over. And basically, I was told that my feelings were invalid and that I should just get over it. So fast forward to this year, New Year's Day, 8:30 in the morning, I come downstairs and he's acting funny. So I said, what's up? Like, what's going on? I know something's going on. He's like, John offered me an apartment. And I said, okay, so what are we doing? Like, are you leaving me? He's like, I think that we just need some space. So, of course, me being me, got mad, went to the bathroom, like was throwing up, like never felt like this before. Could never imagine that someone who did what they did would be leaving me. You know what I mean? And a month later, he moved out, and we share 50-50 custody with our kids. You know, originally it was supposed to just be a separation, just to take some space for 6 months. And things happened in the time that we were apart that made it, you know, so that we didn't work. The last year has been the hardest year of my entire life. I still feel like this was all a mistake, that we shouldn't have split up. And everybody thinks that I'm super toxic for that, which is, yeah, everyone has their opinions, like whatever. But like, that was my husband for 8 years. And so I still feel like we made a mistake, but at the same time, it's what was best for us. We could have fought harder for each other, and we just didn't. So it has been really hard. I've accepted it. I'm moving on. He's moving on. He has a new girlfriend. So that's exciting for him. It's exciting for him. But yeah, I mean, that's my life. And that's really the short version of my life. And I feel like that was pretty long.
No, it's your story. Thank you for sharing it. And I'm sorry that you had to go through a lot of what you went through, because, you know, it's not easy to go through any of that. But here you are, still laughing, still smiling, still happy. So you've really come out on the other side a lot stronger, Bailey, stronger than you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely learned through my life. It really does take a strong person to go through some of the things that I have and still be okay. You know, of course, there's times where I fall apart and I'm not okay, and that's human. I mean, everybody does it. But yeah, I mean, I would say that I'm pretty strong. I'm a pretty strong person. I can pretty much get through anything at this point.
I would say you're really strong. Not pretty strong, like you're really strong.
I try. When you have kids, you kind of have to be, you know. You don't want them to. I fear, especially with Jace, my oldest, I fear for him that he'll go through, the same things that I did. And just, you know, if I can make it easier by not being that sad person and not showing it all the time, maybe it'll help, because it does scare me that he sees like, oh, my mom is sad, or oh, my mom is crying, or she's angry, or, you know, because for a long time I was, and I didn't care. I didn't care if they saw me sad, crying. Jace used to come up to me when I was crying and be like, did daddy make you cry again? Like, and he would just say these things, and it's just like, I don't want him to see that. I don't want him to think that that's normal, even though it is. I don't want him, you know, I want to shield them from that. I don't want them to go through the same things that I went through, or, you know, being put on medication. Like, I'm on 3 different types of antidepressants and 1 bipolar medication. And I also take anxiety medication, and I have a rescue anxiety medication. And I think if I would have just dealt with all of the shit that I was dealt in the past 10 years, that I would be a different person. And so, like, any advice I could give is just let that shit out. Don't hold it in, because it doesn't get you anywhere in life. You just, like, I spent the last 10 years, you know, happy, content. But my life could have been so much fuller in the last 10 years if I would have just dealt with everything I needed to. And so that's what I'm doing now, because I'm not going to spend my 30s being sad anymore, you know, like. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, our 20s are full of lessons of mostly avoidance until like the end of it, where we actually want to face our stuff and face what we've been through. we think that we're strong enough when we're in our early 20s to just go through it and not talk about it and hold on to it, because we've pretty much, as military brats, been doing it our whole lives. But it catches up to us really quickly. So I'm glad that you are getting the help that you need, and that you are, becoming the better version of yourself that you want to be, because you're already so strong. So you're going to be absolutely amazing, and you are absolutely amazing. So I hope that you know that, and that you never let anybody else ever tell you that you're not.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. That's something I'm learning, like, just who cares what anyone else thinks at this point? Who cares? Just be you,
Exactly.
Just be you.
So, what do you do now? Like, what are you up to now?
Right now I work at a credit union here in the town I live in. I'm just a teller. It's fun. It's calm. I like the girls I work with, and I just have a routine. I have my kids every other week. Take them to school. Summer was fun. We got to do a lot of fun things this summer, and we live on the Salmon River, which is it's the whitewater capital in Idaho. So we do that kind of stuff, or go swimming, go up to McCall, hiking. All sorts of stuff. Like, you can even see, this is my view from my house. And I live
Awesome.
right on the base
cool.
of a mountain. So there's a lot to do. And I spend my time being a mom. And when I don't have my kids, I go down to the city and I see my sister and hang out with friends. And, there's not much to it. I do writing. That's a hobby that I've picked up. I used to in high school, and I quit for a long time. So I spend a lot of time writing. And that's very therapeutical for me. I really enjoy it a lot. But yeah, I just live the mom life, typical mom life, going to school, hanging out with the kids. I see them every single day, and I take them to school every day. And yeah, so nothing too exciting here for them, but
yeah.
we have a good
time. You said you reconnected with your sister. How long have you reconnected with her?
So Morgan, she was, I don't know. I think me and her really reconnected when she got pregnant with my nephew, Luis. And it was actually my senior year of high school. And, we didn't really see each other too much. Obviously, I lived in Belgium and she lived here. But she got pregnant with my nephew when I moved back here to be with my ex-boyfriend. We spent a lot of time together. But really recently in the last... So Jace, my 7-year-old, and her middle child, Ava, are 4 weeks apart. We found out we were pregnant a week away from each other. And then she also has her youngest, who's 2, Leo, and I have Oliver, who's also 2, and we found out a week apart from each other again. And I think we really bonded over being pregnant together. And now we just spend as much time as possible. We do everything together at this point. Anytime I'm down there, we're just together. That's just, we're inseparable. So, and it's nice to have that because, for such a long time I didn't, and I still get angry about it that I didn't have my sister. There's a lot of things that happen where it was if I had my older sister, I probably wouldn't have gone through it, so, but now we have each other. She's 3 years older than me to the day. We were born one day apart. And so we always thought that was funny. And then our kids were all born a week or within a couple weeks of each other. But yeah, she's like me, except funnier. She's very crazy and likes to sing and dance and be loud. And I'm the opposite.
I'm glad you guys got to reconnect and, be in each other's lives again. Because that's amazing. Whenever you get to have your family and be around them, especially your sister. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It's really great.
Good.
We have a good relationship.
So you're going back to school. What are you going to school for?
I would be going to school for nursing.
Nice.
RN, in a town like this, there's only so many opportunities that you have. And nursing, that's one that every town needs. We, our nurse practitioner here is getting ready to retire. And so we have one, person in this town, and he only comes up once or twice a week. And so I think that would be the best thing, just because it's needed. It's really needed up here. So that's the plan. We'll see if it changes.
Are you enjoying the classes? Right
so, they're all right. They're it's school, So they're all right. I think it'll be fun to do like clinicals and that kind of stuff. Like that'll be fun. But yeah, taking math again, like, after 10 years, you're just like, oh my gosh, like, when am I going to use this? Like, I'm really not. I'm telling you what, you don't use math like they say you do. You don't. I never have used, like, maybe I'll use fractions. I don't know, but I don't use them now. I don't use any of that shit now. and I'm a teller, like I work at a bank and I still don't use it.
That's crazy. So. I think we had geometry together. Didn't we have geometry together? Yeah.
Sure did. Yep. Me, you, and Wada. Yep. We had a lot of fun in that class.
Oh, gosh.
I have a video somewhere of, I think the teacher was like getting on to us because we were talking too much. And then you were like, act like you're doing something so we don't get in trouble. And so Vlada like sits her head down and I'm like pretending to write. Yeah. And I'm like, I think I'm pretty like writing in circles. Like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he was teaching us anyway. I was telling somebody else that I interviewed the other day that geometry, like he literally would just put up like videos for us to watch. I was like, what?
That's really true. But I'm going to be honest. Half of the teachers that we had didn't teach us shit. I have a few teachers, Mr. Novak being one of them, that I will always remember. He was hilarious, great. And then our 11th grade, and I don't know if you had him. I don't remember if he was still there, but you remember the really big guy, Taylor. Was that his name? I'm pretty sure he only passed me because he didn't want me in his class the following year.
I think he got fired anyway.
I'm pretty sure he got fired. But he was the worst teacher. He didn't teach you anything. Like I remember we watched like Huckleberry Finn or something and we were supposed to read the book, but he's like, I don't really care if you read the book because we're just going to watch the movie anyways. And it's like, isn't that the point of school? Like, yes, we always watched a movie afterwards, but like, you're still supposed to teach the material, dude. Like, you have to do that. Like, that's part of your job. Why you get paid? So, yeah, there were quite a few teachers that I was just like, what? How do you work for Dodds? Like, how do you get a job working for Dodds? But not all they weren't the best. Didn't have that segregation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was.
It was still fun.
We had a lot of fun. We always had fun. Me and you and Vlada, or like whatever class we had together, or wherever we were outside of class. Like
I took so many classes with you guys because I was so stupid my freshman and junior year that I just didn't give a shit. So I didn't like pass my classes. So I remember my senior year having to take like 4 freshman classes because I was just stupid and didn't care. And then I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. So whatever. Retook those classes and that's what I get.
You had fun. So. You came to the right classes. I
did. I would say, like, even though I went through like the shit I went through in high school, like I was always fun and always outgoing and always laughing and always stoned, like always stoned. Our health teacher, what was her name?
Her son
Townsend?
Freddie.
Townsend. She used to tell me when I would come back from lunch, because she knew that me and Tabitha would go out to the dugouts and smoke. She would always say, like, if you come back too stoned and you're taking a nap on my desk, just go to the nurse's office and tell her you have a headache. So I can't tell you how many times I didn't go to class because I had a headache. You know what I mean? Like, it's too funny. Like, yeah, I was not a good kid. I remember hiding in the corner at the pizza bowl to smoke. And all the teachers, man, they would get so mad. But eventually they stopped caring because they were just like what?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing you can do at this point. Yeah. Good times in high school.
But you
good
weren't
times
the only
we
one.
had.
Like, we had drug dogs coming in our school all the time. So it was just a reoccurrence all the time.
Oh,
so
bad.
Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick break to ask if you are enjoying this episode. Go ahead and follow us on Stories of a Dandelion right here on Spotify or wherever you're getting your podcasts, as well as follow us on all of our social media accounts. Let's create this community full of military brats who feel that they're okay with opening up about their mental health, about sharing their journey, what they're going through, and create a place for beautiful healing through stories. So again, please go ahead and follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as all of the social media accounts. Now let's get back to today's episode.
You know, like a lot. We talk like, yeah. I talk to him a lot. Which was cool. We're planning on visiting each other. I've seen Haley Patterson. I don't know if you remember her. She was my very first friend in Belgium ever. She's also the person who introduced me to cigarettes.
Yeah.
I can blame her for that. But I saw her. She was visiting New Mexico and happened to be rolling through where I was, and so that was really cool. And yeah, it's crazy. Very crazy.
Yeah. It's weird, but like in a lot of ways, we still try to stay connected to each other and talk to each other in certain ways, in different ways, like us now talking on this podcast. So it's really interesting to see how shape has connected us and kept us connected.
We haven't probably talked in 10 years. Since I graduated. I mean, maybe like, I think you've sent me like happy birthday and I've sent you a happy birthday, like, you know, those little things. But like, I've always followed you, your whole bike journey. Like, I mean, I followed it. I watched your YouTube. Like, I thought, you know, like you can't keep in touch with everybody, but it is kind of nice to like have that person, you know, like 10 years later. Like, it's so cool to be able to talk to you again. Like, and it feels like nothing's changed. It feels like, you know, like I talked to you about everything back then. And I feel like now I'm like, oh, it's Gina. Like, of course I can talk to her about anything, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy I'm still that person for you. Cause like, I just remember, I remember in high school, like we would just sit and you would just talk and I'd be like, man, Bailey, what the heck is going on? like yesterday, all I did is eat a pizza. But I do my best to like just make you laugh because I know like you were just like going through things. But yeah, I just remember sitting there and be like, I love this girl. I have no idea why or what's happening. But
heck yeah.
But we are going to make today the best day.
Sure did.
Like just
you know, I saw PJ's podcast that he did with you. And I was so shocked and surprised by the things that he said and the things that he went through. You know, there's just certain people in high school that you're like, they have it all. They have their friends, they're popular, they're, you know, they play sports and they get the girls, and hearing some of the things that he went through. And it was really cool to see that because, you know, in high school, that's not what I saw. I didn't know that he went through anything like that at all. I had no idea about anything. So it was really cool to like kind of experience that. So that's why like I feel like this podcast is kind of important, especially just between us Shapians. Like nobody knows, like nobody knew what I was going through. I didn't open up and tell people that. I didn't tell the people that were bullying me how they made me feel like. And so now everyone can kind of see like why they were the way they were back then. And I think that's really cool. So
yeah. It's opened my eyes in so many different ways by doing this podcast, hearing everybody else's story, learning more about like everybody I talk to and their history. It kind of sucked her in.
Were like loud and out there and talked to everybody, was friends with everybody. It didn't matter what grade, what friend group, like jock, loner, stoner, whatever. It didn't matter. Like you just got along with everybody. And that's why I liked you so much, because it was like, you know, with me, like you would know to like kind of, you know, just be there and like listen. And but then I see with like Matt, and you know, both of you were like loud and crazy, and it always just made me so happy. Like your friendship with Matt was really cool to watch too. I've talked to him a little bit recently as well, after all his COVID stuff that he went through was hard for him. But he said he's doing a little bit better, so that's good.
Yeah. That is good. Yeah. High school was different, and I loved it, and I enjoyed it.
My other dog.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, I mean, like, for one, I didn't know you were getting bullied, and I apologize for that. Like, I know I didn't do it, but like, why were you getting bullied at a school that had so many
I was like, everyone's so diverse
unique
here.
people? Makes no sense to me.
Boys are boys.
Yeah, but boys are boys, and I mean,
you know, like you, I mean, you would know the group of boys that I'm talking about, but, you know, but
yeah,
it's okay, because like that's just how they got through their day. Was, you know.
I guess, but it's not okay,
for sure, boys should not be
taught
that that's okay. But that's how they got through their day, and how I got through mine was acting like everything was fine. And you know what? We're all dumb at some point in our life. Yeah. Teenagers, we're dumb, stupid teenagers. We say stupid shit. I guarantee now, if I was in a room with those boys,
that's true,
that they would apologize. And that, you know, you grow, and you learn.
Yeah.
And I will make sure that my 3 boys never speak to a woman the way that I was spoken to, or the names that I was called. Like, I mean, these kids will get their little butts beat if I ever find out, you know, because no matter what, like nobody and no girl deserves to cry herself to sleep at night because of some stupid boy saying a mean comment. And it's also funny, I'd like to point out that these boys who made fun of me also wanted to date me, but they just didn't want anybody to know. You know, like how, like, it's just funny. It's just like one person has an opinion about someone, so they have to follow, even though deep down they all thought I was hot. So whatever. Me and my piercings and my colorful hair.
Get it, Bailey.
I'll always be proud of my senior picture and having pink hair. And I still have different hair. Like, I don't.
You're killing it.
That's just me. And I'm covered in tattoos. And I have one piercing. I still have one piercing. I'm not covered in them anymore. That was probably a bad choice on my part. I was being covered my whole face in piercings. But, yeah.
Oh my goodness. But I do remember when I met you, Bailey, and I was just like, you're a cool chick. Like, this is a cool person. I want to hang out with her. She makes me laugh. And who doesn't want to have a friend who just makes you laugh and just you can be goofy and stupid with
who doesn't
all
want that?
the time? Like,
always. Like, seriously. Like, I can't. Me and you never got in a fight. Ever. We never got in a fight. We never got angry at each other. Like, literally all it was us just saying stupid shit and laughing. Like that's my only memories like that I have with you. I don't have any bad
Yeah.
memories at all. Which is nice. Like it's nice to have that, you know, because you go through a lot of shit with friends in high school and not all of it's good, but we never had a bad moment. And that was awesome.
And
Ooh, 5
where
years
you
from
are now. So where do you want to be in 5 years?
5 years from now, wow. I've never thought about that. I want to be done with school. I want to have my degree. Honestly, 5 years from now, I just want to be the best version of myself for my kids. I want to be truly and 100% happy and at peace with everything that's happened. I just want to be happy. That's where I see myself in 5 years. Like just none of, like worked my way through all of this. And I just want to be the best mom for my kids. That's it. I want to be happy, healthy. I'd love to lose some weight, which I'm working on. I've lost 80 pounds, just so everybody knows. 80 pounds in the last 7 months since Robert left. And
Nice.
still continuing that journey. I just want to be happy, healthy, and be the best version of myself for my kids because they deserve to have a happy mom. They deserve to have the life that I had growing up with my parents. My parents were the best parents. Even though my dad was very strict and annoying, they were still the best parents. And so that's it. Like I just want to be a good mom, and successful. So yeah, of course.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
Be the
That's
best
true.
you can be for yourself as well.
That's one thing I've heard recently. Like you talk about being like, you want to do this for this person and you want to be this for this person, but you never, like my mom was telling me the other day, like you never say anything about yourself. Like you never, and I guess that's just because I've always put everybody before myself, always. And I guess that's not something I've learned yet, but it is something that needs to happen. I need to learn to put myself first. It's the only way you truly will be happy. So.
Yeah, it's the only way that you can be your best for everybody you love because you can't keep pouring from an empty cup, Bailey. Gotta fill yourself up.
That is very true. I'll keep that in mind.
And that's the episode, guys. Again, Bailey, thank you for joining the Stories of a Dandelion podcast. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for wanting to share your story. I love you, girl. You are doing such amazing things where you are and with your boys. You are an amazing person. You always have been. You've always had this light that I never understood, and I don't think I ever will. But it's such a beautiful light that I always want to be connected to it. So thank you for sharing that light with me when we were in high school and now. And thank you for sharing that light with those who needed to hear your story today or tomorrow or sometime in the future. I'll see you guys next Military Brats Monday.